What's up, amigos? Today, I'm super excited to do a one-on-one interview. It's been a few months already, and I have here Alan. So, Alan, what did you do this past weekend?
So last Friday, I got 7th place at the second Nexus event in Houston, Texas at Game Guys. It's a cash invitational, and then they're doing a big qualifier later this year. They do a invitational every 2 months, and they'll do a big tournament at the end of the year. So I got 7th and got my invite. So
nice.
Super excited. It's been a bit since I've actually topped a very large event, so I was very happy with it. And then we played Springfest the next day, and I scored out. So,
I mean, you won something. At the end of the day, you got something at least. And then you get an invite for the next event. They do like a cash pool, am I correct?
Yes. So say we had 400 players, the cash pool would be $4,000. Game Guys, they're really pushing this invitational. So the next one will be in May. We don't have a date yet, but I'm excited. I'm going to play everyone that I can. So it's a lot of fun. Really good players. Very skill intensive. I think Friday was more skill intensive than Springfest itself, because it was, you just had to focus on your own play, not your teammates.
Yeah, it was individual, and then also there's money on the line, so people want
bigger deal than just a promo.
Vanguard's not cheap.
I got to fight here.
Vanguard
had a redemption. I played in the first event, and I didn't do so well, so to come back and get a top placement, get my invite.
And you did, and that's what's up. And so that's what we're talking about today. Going into some of the details, but also being upfront with my viewers too. Alan has been a Metafy student as well too. I've known him for many years too, so he's a
many years. God.
Yes, and it's great to see that he's topping again recently. I know that it's something that he's been like as a goal really heading for this past year. And how do you feel after that, Alan?
It was a breath of fresh air. Like I can do well at locals, but locals is one thing,
right?
When you get to an event that just has, like I said before, like really skilled players, and just like it's intense and a lot's on the line. I feel like it fuels you even more. So I took a deck I really love and that I've been practicing the snot out of, and everything clicked. So it was a lot of fun. I was very happy. I needed the momentum going into BCS season this fall, because the meta's about to change again. So it's like I got my invite. I got that top right before we get energy. So it's like, okay, cool. I can breathe for a minute now.
Yeah, you're starting off strong essentially for the year. No, I get you. So like from the community aspect, like where are you from? Do you have any locals communities that you want to give shout outs to?
I do. Our locals is called Collectomaniacs. It's in our mall. I live in Springfield, Missouri. So we have a decent turnout Fridays and Sundays now.
Nice.
And I love our venue. It's a little smaller as far as just like the size of the building, but we've got a good group. We've got a really good group. Lots of people that I really care about there. So
that's what's up. And so, with like preparation, I love to talk about like mindset going into an event. What's some things that you focus on that help you prepare for the event going into it? And if it influences like your deck choices, feel free, to talk about that too.
Absolutely. So definitely Fuzzy Paradox is a great resource. I think everybody agrees since he started, registering all the decks and everything, seeing what's doing well, seeing what isn't doing well, testing those net decking, testing those things, see what works for you, see if you want to change anything, spicy tech picks, things like that. That's been a huge help. I have the absolute best playtest partner in the world. My roommate, Kurt, he won Bro last year on Willista, and we play, like I said, almost every single day. And he's like my driving force. It's like, you do so well, I need to match you. I taught you how to play. I've got to be at your level. So he's a great help. Anytime I want to test against something, like if I want to learn how to play against Shiranui, Luar, Prism, anything, he'll pilot that deck so I can get adequate testing. I think that's a huge part in going into this meta, is there's going to be so much running around. You need high level testing for every possible deck, because you don't know what's just going to come out of absolute nowhere, be some weird pick that just destroys your deck or whatever. So adequate testing, we'll get into it when we get my matchups. That's the reason I topped and got 7th at Game Guys, was because I had testing with a specific rogue deck that you would have not seen normally. So
I'm excited to hear that part too. And so maybe diving into your deck list, Alan, you want to start us off here?
Absolutely. So I played a lot of people have been pivoting into Emfauza, the grade 2 that restands as long as you pay Drajeweled's costs. I was testing it for quite a while actually, but I was and it's great so you can get a grade 4 in the hand if you somehow miss your grade 4 ride or it gets stuck on solar or anything like that.
Right.
I wanted to play more aggressively, so most of the Drajeweled stuff that you're seeing here is very standard. I actually switched to Servant Falgracia, which is, I've tested her before, but her numbers hit bigger. And if you're playing against the Shiranui matchup or anything that can call rear guards, if they end up calling a grade 3, she'll help you set up your soul, because her wording is she has to attack a grade 3 or greater unit, not necessarily a grade 3 or greater Vanguard. So if they call the Shiranui grade 3, or if you're playing against a deck that can call rear guards, she can still set up your soul, because typically your pitch fodder for everything once you hit grade 3 is going to be the Noctargio, this guy here. So he's going to be sitting in the drop zone. If you don't have a 4 yet, this is a way you can still get your grade 3 in soul, so you can activate your Drajeweled skill. It's also a really good burst draw, because you draw off this, you draw off of the grade 2. So it's, this card absolutely positively put in work. You get +5 for every grade that a unit has. So if you're putting a 3, she's getting +15. If you're putting a 4, she's getting +20. And then if you pivot on your grade 4 turn and you stand her with Varpula, it's huge. She loses the power, but you're going to soul blast that 4 or that 3, whatever that unit is, and put it back in the soul. And she's going to be huge. And that was such a huge part of the whole day, was seeing her early. That's why I had to play Forest, because I don't like playing low counts of cards. A lot of this you see is 4-ofs, or like we have one Cat, because Cat lets you play Rocket Gork more aggressively, because you can countercharge. But I like being consistent as possible. It's a huge thing with me personally. I want to have as many copies of something. I want the high chances of seeing it. So seeing her early and being able to really whittle down like my opponent's board. Like my round 1 was against Shiranui. If they called a grade 3, I'm at grade 3. I swing at their grade 2. I swing at their grade 3. I put a grade 3 in the soul. They can't guard it. Like, it's just too high when they're at grade 2. So she puts in so much work, especially on, again, your Ignis turn, when you set them to 0 and she's swinging, 45, just like Rocket Gorg is. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's disgusting how strong she is. She was absolutely the MVP for the day. Absolutely, her and Rock. But Rocket Gorg is, it needs no explanations. It's just
No, it's a really good choice. Like, I've seen little variations between deck lists too, and it makes a lot of sense why you went this route too. I feel like Drajeweled is a flexible deck where you can have like your different types of restanders or restanding plays, essentially. That grade 1 does a lot of wonders, especially,
And the reason you don't want to play Impausa with it is they can't proc at the same time. You get the draw no matter what. When you activate your Drajeweled skill, you still draw a card. But you can only restand if nothing else is restood that turn. So you activate Varpula first, stand the unit, then stand Rock. If you have Impausa, you can't trigger them both. You can only get the draw off of the Varpula, and I really value the restand, the 5 attacks every turn if I can get it. Also, one weird thing that a lot of people aren't doing, I'm playing fronts. I am not playing draw triggers. I'm not afraid of deck out necessarily, but I want the bigger shield, especially if it didn't happen on Friday at the Nexus event itself, but on Saturday, my very last round was against Greedon and Springfest, and I got stuck on grade 3 Drajeweled. I couldn't find my 4. I damaged deck 2. I soul charged 1. I couldn't find the last one. And having front triggers was the only reason I survived 3 Persona ride turns against Greedon, because I don't know if you know anything about Greedon, the Vanguard is huge every single turn, and now they have to win a multi-attack. So front triggers like saved me so often. And even on Friday night, having the extra shield, making your front row 10k bigger when they're at 0 is terrifying. So you're swinging 55 instead of 45, and they're at 0. That's huge. If they don't have a defensive, they're probably done.
Yeah, that's true. So it helped you aggressively, but also as like one card, like defense quality wise. Okay,
exactly.
I see that.
Exactly.
I did notice
early too. If I'm going second, and they get to grade 3 first, it's like I don't feel as like hindered having to drop 2 cards from hand to guard when I can just block it with a front.
Yeah, you save 1 card essentially. Okay, in that perspective. So like if you hard to draw into it too, you still have like at least 1 card drops. Okay, gotcha. With the OT, I was just gonna say the OT. What made you pick that one instead of like Dark States or even the blue OT?
Dark States is great for Greedon specifically. I feel like I don't feel like it puts enough pressure in Drajeweled. Yes, you're gonna always be swinging a crit, but I value the aggression that turn creates. So typically on an Ignis turn, you're getting 5 attacks because you're swinging Rock and another unit or another Rock twice, and then your Vanguard. With the Overtrigger, because you restand your units before you drive check, you can make Rock stand again, or make the other unit stand again, and they're at 0. That's so oppressive. You're swinging.
You get a 6 attack that way. Okay.
Yeah, it's the extra attack. And then if it didn't come up, but because I usually, unless I'm playing against Shiranui, I always have a board. But you still get to call something and draw cards, so it's not like it's horrible at all if you don't have a rearguard to give the skill to. So
there's flexibility with that. I see. Yeah,
absolutely. And it throws people off, like, why would they're going to expect blue? They're going to expect the crit, or they're going to expect dark states. But when you play red, it's like, I have to deal with another attack after I've planned to defend everything else. So it's kind of scary. I almost played counter heals as well, but it just wasn't coming up enough. The only matchup it really comes into is Shiranui. And while there was a lot of Shiranui, I valued having, like, it's not good against Messiah. It's not good against other decks that are like calling new units.
Yeah.
The unit has to restand for the counter heal to really like be effective. And there aren't enough really good restanding Vanguards outside of Greedon in this meta currently.
Yeah.
So I value just the 15k base shield more.
Just as a general 15k that you can rely on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense too.
And then Form It All because you play Grade 4s. And you can't play the Elementari because you play Grade 4, it won't work. So then I have to play.
That's also true. Yeah. I learned the hard way with Seraph Pure Light. That's fun.
Yeah, prison doesn't scare me. I'll just build up my soul and empty all of it and empty their entire prison out. But I was prepared for it. I tested for it, so.
I was going to say, it's a pretty solid list, and, it's pretty straightforward. Is there any other cards that you want to mention before we dive into your matchups?
Like I said, there were games, especially the last game in Spring Fest, that I wanted in Pausa because I could have gotten the extra card out of the Grade 4 out of Soul. But other than that, the only thing you notice out of my list compared to others, I don't play a secondary Grade 3. I don't play Ristal Galer, and I don't play the, what's his name? The Cycle Grade 3 from Festival Collection that puts the over trigger, removes it, and then it gets guard restrict. I've tested that, but in this build, I just wanted to be as aggressive as humanly possible. I didn't want to play more bricks and more cards with no shield. Yes, the Grade 3 cycle does get 10k shield if you check a trigger or if they check a trigger, but I just wanted the most consistent way to push and the most aggressive way to push.
Yeah. You don't have to rely so much on other cards.
I don't like the Ristal Galer. Yes, you can pop rear guards with it, but you're also, yes, you're going card neutral because you're putting a card into Soul and then you're drawing a card. But if I say I have 2 cards in hand and they're, 2 perfect guards, I don't want to burn a perfect guard just to pop a rear guard. This deck has average hand. It doesn't have high hand, doesn't have low hand. So you kind of have to really be careful how much you burn early.
Yeah.
Because your drawing doesn't start until you get onto Ignis and you start triple driving every turn.
Right. Especially since you're not playing draw triggers either. I gotcha.
Absolutely. So that was my reasoning for that.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I was just going to say, did you want to dive in more into your matchups?
Yeah, absolutely. So round 1, I played against Shiranui. And I had a cold sweat for a moment, but I have been prepping for this matchup and this matchup specifically for quite a while. And with Drajeweled, the nice thing with Drajeweled is you don't have to call rear guards early. Your Grade 1 goes back into the Soul, so it avoids getting sniped by Dominate. You don't can't use Rock until they're at Grade 3 anyway. The Varpula, if it stands a rear guard, it goes back into the Soul. So I played low board and I only guarded with triggers. Or pitched for a ride with triggers. So they didn't have as many options to call off of their Shiranui skill or just rear guards in general to use to attack my Vanguard. And then when I would throw things in the drop zone, I would eat them with the Noctagio or Falcracia, things like that. So I just got those power units off the board before they could use them. Yeah. So round 1 was Shiranui. I played super conservatively. I didn't call single rear guard until I was on my Ignis turn. I swung with regular Drajeweled minus them and just sat there, didn't do anything else. And I just outhand him. As soon as I got on my Ignis turn, I killed him.
Gotcha. Nice.
Because Magen Tenbu's not scary when the trigger they call out just gets, +9.
Yeah, Magen Tenbu doesn't do much more, give him power or anything. It's just a retirement.
And guarding early against Shiranui is very important too. You want to be able to take the late game hits because they're not scary unless they're ripping crits off the top.
No, I agree. Definitely. So it worked out for you.
It's I'm going to swing 30k with this rear guard that's restanding. Oh, I'm at 2 damage. I can just take it. Have fun. It puts your mind at ease when you don't have to deal with, when you can just take the hit.
Yeah, I totally agree. Cool. Round 2.
And then, so I won round 1. Round 2, I played against his friend, which was Luard. I'm like, cool. I'm going to play Stride decks all night. It's going to happen. That's what happened. But I played against Luard, killed him before he could get onto the guard restrict. Because the thing with Luard is, yes, it can stride for free. The deck is absolutely insane. It has a lot of pivots that it can do. It can farm perfect guards with the grade 2 from Minerva's Rising. It can do a ton. But the thing is, it has to get that advantage. It has to build up a turn or two in order to do that. So unlike my match with Shiranui, I was aggressive as humanly possible. I called out an entire board at grade 1. I called the Draco Kid and the Varpula because they can't really. And if they can, I can get them off the board before they have a chance to pop them. So I played grade 1 Rush, played grade 2 Rush, and then killed on my grade 3.
Holy, really? Didn't even get a chance to strike?
I was like, well, they did strike. They went first, so...
Okay, gotcha. So they still have... okay, I gotcha.
They had the regular strike turn, but he's not as good when Morfessa can't, like, chain attacks off of him.
Yeah, she has to see 2 or more face up in the G zone.
Yeah, it's such a weird way. Like, I'm like, 2 G units. I flipped one and I'm on one. That's right? No, that's not how that works anymore. So
Bushiro was on that.
Yeah, they're like, no, we're not doing that. So I won round 2 against Luard. And at this point, I'm feeling really good because the last Nexus I played against a fellow Armada teammate round 1, and they just couldn't like pick up anything after that. So I'm feeling really good going into game round 3. I'm playing against Messiah, which is a matchup I have not tested against at all. And in the back of my head, I'm like, cool, I'm playing another Stride deck.
Yep.
I'm not going to make it out tonight without playing every single Stride deck. So it's really back and forth. Messiah hits like a truck when it wants to. And the new order being able to call Messiahs from the drop zone, it's so good. No wonder that card's like $18 right now. It's absolutely insane. But we're going back and forth. Twice we're in these scenarios where it's like, okay, if we're both missing like 5k shield, we lose. I have 3 Ignis turns. He has 3 Stride turns. And we get to my turn. I have nothing left in the soul except for my grade 2 and grade 3. I'm on Ignis currently.
Yeah.
I had to burn everything from my hand the previous turn to block.
Yeah.
So I draw, and I make my first mistake of the night. I swear to God, I'll never make this mistake again. So Ignis can eat 2 2 cards from the drop zone to help set up your soul. Let me pull him up here. Yeah. And then if you have 4 or more grades, that's the keyword, 4 or more grades, not 5. I can't read clearly. I thought it was 5 or more grades. So my bozo butt puts 2 grade 4s in the soul, and it can count grade 4s in the soul for its Soul Blast cost, but not for its getting 15k to the front row. So I goof horribly because I have no way to buff my front row. I have the 8k cat on one side and then a 9k column on the other side, a 4k trigger and a 5k trigger. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to lose here. I have 11 cards left in deck. I have 4 triggers left in deck. I messed up and didn't give 15k to my front row where that clearly would have won the game. After the game, we both agreed, like, yeah, if you had that power, you would have won. So he goes 2 to pass. Now, short story. BCS Houston, this exact same scenario happened when I was on Hexorb, and I saw 2 triggers. I didn't know if a third was there, and I split my trigger, or I put all trigger effects on Vanguard, and I lost. It was against Gandiva. Had I split the triggers, I would have won. This time, I'm in a cold sweat. I'm ironically sitting in the same spot as that matchup back in Houston. So I was like, this is nuts. So there's 11 cards left in deck, 4 triggers.
Yep.
I check 1 crit.
Oh my gosh.
I sit there for a solid 2 minutes. I'm like, what do I do? Because I already messed up. My front row's not going to hit unless they have triggers.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know what to do here. If I pass it on to one unit, he guards. The other one can't hit. There's no way I can do this. And I'm like thinking, counting. I know there's 4 crits left in deck. So I'm like, okay, this did not work last time, but I'm going to just chance this because this is the only way I guarantee win.
Right.
So I go all to Vanguard.
Yep.
Check the second, and it's a crit. All the Vanguard, I break. Third check is a perfect guard, and I end up scooping out the game that way. I made such a pivotal mistake on my part that absolutely he would have won the game. Absolutely, had I not ripped double crit. But if I also had
still won it,
I would have won the game.
Wait, so did you still win it or no? I'm confused.
No, I won. With the double crit, I assigned it all to Vanguard.
Gotcha. Because of that, you were able to break through. Okay, gotcha.
Whereas last time, I had to split it and I would have won. This time, it's like, okay, full circle moment here.
That's funny. That's cool. Well, it worked out.
And he ends up going undefeated the rest of the night. I was his only loss, which we'll get into in a minute. That's the reason why I topped, is because he continuously did well the rest of the night. So it's like, oh, this worked out in my favor. So I beat Messiah, and then we go on to round 4, and it's Shiranui again, and it's the currently seated undefeated player.
Okay.
Other than myself. There's 4 of us at this point. One of my friends, another Shiranui player, Will, this Shiranui player, and myself. So it's like,
Oh, did you face Will?
I did face Will.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because Will did also well. Yeah. Nice.
It Will won, I believe.
Yeah,
he won because I played him in cut 2. Round 1 in top cut. So I'm much more like not confident against this matchup. Round 1, it's like, okay, I felt good. Now it's like he's just went undefeated all night.
Yep.
This is completely different. And I know he's a good player. I know his entire team's a great player. I'm like, I have to really think here. So I let him go first because I want to mitigate the extra draw that he gets. In any testing that I've done, that's the safest way to deal with Shiranui is you don't let them get card advantage.
Yeah.
But of course, he sees absolutely everything he needs, grade 1 and grade 2. I go into my first or dual turn.
Yep.
I call out Rock. I call out everything I need to. I rip OT and a crit, and he survives. My Rock swings 3 times, and he survives out of it. I'm like, well, I'm done, because at this point, I have no hand. He's rushed me down. I don't have a hand to continuously guard and everything. So I end up, he goes on Magen Tenbu, and I lose right there. No questions asked. Like, well, if I want to try to swing and kill, at least I attempted it. But he is next level. Like, it's like Kurt. He just thinks 18 turns ahead. And I'm like, I can't win. I ripped crit OT and I still didn't beat him. I don't know what to tell you. So I took my first loss of the night. So I'm X1 at this point. I moved down 1 table at playing against another Shiranui player. So again, now we're at 5 rounds and I have played nothing but Stride decks all night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sick and tired of seeing any Stride deck. Doesn't matter that it's Shiranui. That wasn't the problem. My brain was still like breathing. I'm like, I gave it my best shot. I didn't get to Ignis and I couldn't kill him. So we move on to round 5 and I'm playing against Shiranui. The game is a lot different. It's much more back and forth, but I end up getting crit on Magen Tenbu on his first stride and I died.
Ooh.
So I couldn't do anything about that.
Right. That's right.
I was like, oh, I'm at 2 damage. It's fine. We'll take it.
Yeah.
No, that didn't work out. Like, just with my deck, triple drive is scary because if you triple crit, typically it's just a kill. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
When you're a low damage too, you're like, okay, I'm playing it smart. Let me just take it, get myself damage for my following turn.
Right.
But there was absolutely nothing that I could do. So he wins. So I'm at 2 losses.
One of those Vanguard moments. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we go into the last round and I'm like nervous. I'm like, I have to win this in order to get top 16. I want to make game guys proud. I want to do well. I'm really close with the guy Jonathan O'Grady, who plays Card Fight. He runs the Nexus circuit. So like, I want to do well considering my last, event I didn't do as hot. So like, okay, let's do this. He flips over starter and it's the Herminia starter. And everything in my body just says, I have this matchup 200%. Curtis has been playing Herminia constantly the past month and a half. This is the one deck that I am absolutely prepared for, absolutely know what to do. Don't give them counterblast. You damage deny them until you're ready to kill them. And I have a really stable, grade 3 and grade 4 turn. I can really edge them out. And that's exactly what I do. I don't give him a single damage until I'm at 3 and I hit a crit. So he's
nice.
At this point with how my rear guard's attacked, he's sitting at 2 damage. He needs open counterblast to be able to do anything.
Yeah. I
swing at rear with a crit. So I deny him damage. So his Persona Ride turn is basically null and void because he needs damage. He needs 3 face down damage to use Herminia's skill to where she can just pitch it's free. And he needs 2 face up damage to use the Emmeline to counterblast 2 and get a drive check. He can do it with 1 counterblast, but only if he has 3 face down. So I'm like, if I damage deny him, the turn is going to pass to me. I have 2 perfect guards in hand. He can't get additional drive checks. He can't kill me.
Right.
So I take a crit. The turn passes, I ride on to Ignis, and I clean up from there.
Wow. Literally,
but I'll tell you
exactly what to do.
Seeing that starter and seeing him ride grade 1 was the biggest relief of my entire life. I've been playing Card Fight since BTO1 Descent of King of Knights.
Yep.
I play competitively for years. Jaime, you and I have done interviews with my past stops and everything. I have never felt more confident than I did when that starter flipped over. I have never felt that. Like, I don't want to be a dick, but I'm sorry, I'm taking you to school and I'm winning this game. Especially because I knew
you prepared so much against that matchup, so inside.
I was like, this is the one match that I know backwards and forwards. There's no questions asked. I've been beaten by about 30,000 times with Curtis. So I'm like, if I can get through this game, I'll get top 16. So I win that set. We wait for about 30 minutes because games are finishing up in time.
Yep.
And he starts calling out top 16, 16th, not 15th, not 14th, not 13th. At that point, I'm getting nervous. I'm like, did somebody edge me out? Like with tiebreakers, not 12th, not 11th, not 10th, not 9th. I'm like, oh, well, I guess I just don't get it. And I'll, try again in May. We'll go from there.
Yeah.
8th place is myself. And I'm screaming. I'm happy. Yes. And then I'm like, I have to play more. I was exhausted. It was 12 o'clock at night. I was so done.
Yeah, you guys had started late for that event, right?
Yeah. The event started at 7. But I was so happy. And then I just I have to play again. Yep. Against Will again.
Oh, he was 1 and you were 8. So you're immediate. Yeah.
I was like, they just want to go home because Springfest is the next morning. I'm so done.
Yep.
I was so agitated. So happy that I got it, though. Really would have rather had top 16, but I'll take top 8. So I sit down to play Will. I double crit on my grade 3 turn. I OT the turn after.
Again?
And I've given him 5 damage on his first stride turn.
Yeah.
And I very quickly.
Did he rush you again and gave you some crits?
Absolutely. He's a phenomenal player. He's absolutely phenomenal. But it's like, at this point, my brain is checked out. And I'm like, I'm going to try my best.
Yeah.
But I can't make any guarantees on this. But he just edges me out in game. I have the perfect, I'm doing the same thing I did in round 1. Not giving him things to dominate and everything like that. When it comes down to triggers and just the mind of a player that's just been playing the game as long as I have and that sinks ahead, it's really hard you can't play against that. You just have to play your best. And that's all I could do.
Yep.
But another player drops, so I moved from 8th seat to 7th, and I end at 7th for the night. So nice. I did the best I could. I'm so happy to have gotten this top again. It's my first meaningful top because locals, I can top, but it's not the same as an event top.
Yeah.
It feels good. It's been my first meaningful top in quite some time, actually.
Yeah.
Other than case tournaments. But again, I'm looking at where it matters. And I have a piece of plastic there, a piece of metal that tells me, you did well and everything. So
yeah, especially if you've gone for a while without topping, the doubt starts setting in.
Yeah, last BCS.
I talked to Daniel Herrera. He had the same feeling with Worlds. That it's been a while for him that he requalified and that doubt.
It feels so good to get there. Yeah. It absolutely feels great to get back up there. And after all the testing that I do, watching Kurt, win Bro last year and all of that, and me edging out, it definitely feels great to reaffirm my skill. Because Drajeweled's not a simple deck. You have to think a lot when to use a skill, when to, how your restands are, where you're putting power. Things like that. It's definitely not just I'm going to pick up the deck and just take it to an event. You definitely have to think about everything you're doing. What?
Right. I said go burr.
Go burr.
Right. Yeah, you put your effort into the deck and it rewards you for it too. It's a fun deck.
Yeah.
I like that.
I absolutely love it. And it's knowing that I have this top, because last BCS season, I did well in Houston. I did okay in Duluth. And then when we came to January and we did this first Nexus event, I just scrubbed out so hard. I felt so bad. I'm like, what's wrong with me? What am I doing? Is it the deck that I'm playing? Is it me as the pilot? What's going on? And I just took time. I practiced my little butt off with Kurt and just did everything I could to master this deck and just immerse myself in it. And I credit that to my top and all my friends that supported me and everything. Having a support system is huge. You, Jaime, being on the Armada, having Kevin and other people to theory craft and to talk about. Xavier Martinez, who got me into Drajeweled. A lot of people just really, pushed and said I could do it. I was able to get there. So I credit a lot of it to my friends and family as well. So
absolutely. You answered a lot of my questions that I was going to ask. You reaffirmed that you are a good player. And in my eyes, you are a good player too. Sometimes you need to double down in a season of life to just move on through that plateau. It happens to sometimes. And then you would just be
really hard.
Yeah, I was just going to say
Gandiva, because I went 3 months of topping with Gandiva, getting first. And that deck got hit and I pivoted away. I was like, is it just the deck? That made me really question myself. Was it just the deck or was it me as a pilot that was getting it? And this reaffirmed that, me as a pilot, I can take a deck and do really well with it. So.
Exactly. And then you just need that small win in a way, but it's a big win in your eyes still too. And I was going to say, you already gave your shout outs a bit, but like, is there any advice that you would give other players that maybe have gone through the same thing or they haven't?
When you hit that plateau, don't stop. A lot of people want to take breaks when they hit those plateaus, but it's okay to pivot off the game, but still keep theory. Don't stop everything you're doing. If you need to stop going to locals and things like that, that's fine. I have weeks that I'd rather stay home and playtest with my roommate and things like that than go to a local event. Sometimes you have to step away, but don't stop doing what you're doing. Keep thinking, keep building, keep looking at other people's lists, having those high-level conversations with other players that are topping. That's super important because getting into their brains really helps you as a player as well. You and I do that all the time. So like having those conversations makes you think about that next level thinking, that critical thinking, and it gets you in that correct mindset, even if you're having a rough day or having a rough week or having a rough month.
Yeah.
I love this game. Again, I've been playing it entirely too long, spent entirely too much money on it, but it's something that makes me happy in it.
It's their passion. It's a hobby. That's exactly. You've been playing to begin with. You're willing to travel to events and stuff like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love it. I credit Jaime. I credit the Armada, the team that I'm on, and all of this. You guys are absolutely the best, and I couldn't ask for better teammates. And I'm excited to play with you and do events with you moving forward, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
I appreciate that too. Yeah, and nobody's self-made, and I appreciate you for being so humble about it too. And is there any last minute shout outs you want to do though, or we could just wrap up for today?
No, I think we're good. Everyone at Collective that plays, everyone at Game Guys, Xavier Martinez, you, Curtis, all of my teammates on the Armada. Just thank everyone. Lee and Morgan, two of my close friends that we did Duluth and Houston together. They've helped me a lot. Dapper, Hannah, Drago, all of you. I give this top to all of you as well for helping me get here and keeping me playing, keeping me focused and everything. So I appreciate every single one of you.
Yeah, John too, right?
Of course, John. I love John Alquist. He's great.
Quick shout out to him.
Because Tim and Catherine, and they're both great. There were games that they completely carried me and games I completely carried them. So everyone in my card fight community and card fight family are very important to me. And if you're in that group, like you are, Jaime, you know how much I express that to all of you constantly. So
awesome. Thanks again. I appreciate it, Alan. So until the next one, amigos, take it easy.
Bye.